For African Disclosure, my name is Seakga Tladi. Welcome to the program. We've all been there, right? Where we think to ourselves, you know what, I'm getting a little bit out of shape. You see a little bit of a belly growing, or you just don't feel so good anymore. So you're like, you know what, I'm going to start running. And you get on the road and you run, and 100 meters later, not even a kilometer later, your lungs are already killing you. Your legs are already screaming and you just want to give up. And most of us do, right? We run for a few weeks and then we get tired of it and we move on. But some people don't. Some people run 10Ks and then 20Ks and eventually run a marathon. And then the best of them, the absolute best runners, end up running an ultra marathon. And the best of the ultra marathon runners, they dream about competing in the Comrades Marathon. A lot of runners, most runners' dream is completing the Comrades Marathon. Now, some dream of finishing 10 Comrades Marathon, but I'm pretty sure there's very few runners that can imagine standing on the start line of the Comrades 50 times. For more than 5 decades, my next guest, Mr. Louis Massyn, has done exactly that. At 74 years old, he returned this year to attempt his 51st Comrades Marathon, chasing yet another chapter in a journey that began back in 1973 when, as a 22-year-old with no racing experience, he entered what would become the defining challenge of his life, the Comrades Marathon. Along the way, he became the first person in history to complete 50 Comrades Marathon. Let me say that again. He became the first person ever to complete 50 Comrades Marathons, earning a place not only in the record books, but in the hearts of runners across South Africa and around the world. But this year, unfortunately, did not end with another medal. For the first time in many years, Louis was forced to confront one of the hardest realities in endurance sport, is that sometimes determination is not enough. Yet, what makes his story remarkable is not the races he finished, but the way he responds when things don't go according to plan. His journey is a story about resilience, friendship, humility, and the spirit of comradeship that has made this race, the Comrades Marathon, one of Africa's greatest sporting traditions. I sat down with Mr. Louis Massyn to reflect on more than 50 years of running, the lessons he has learned along the way, and why, despite the disappointment of this year's result, he is already preparing to come back once again. So without any further ado, it is an absolute honor to introduce this interview with Mr. Louis Massyn. I've asked you to join me because you've just attempted your 51st Comrades Marathon. So first and foremost, thank you and for joining me, and congratulations on returning to attempt this 51st Comrade Marathon. What inspired you to take this extraordinary journey, and what kept your passion alive for so many years?
Well, actually, to be quite honest, the camaraderie of Comrades and to be part of the history of Comrades, and for sure I am in the history books of Comrades, and it is the world's greatest ultra marathon. There's no ways about it, so yes.
Yeah, it's a very long and storied history with many excellent runners and athletes, and definitely, I mean, running it at 74 years old, you're part of the history book. Now, I want to go back to the beginning. Take us back to 1973, when you ran your first Comrades Marathon at the age of 22. What do you remember most vividly about that first race? And did you ever imagine it become such an important part of your life?
No, definitely not, for sure. Marathon running, actually road running, is actually a lifestyle in our household. So yes, to get back to where it started in 1973 with a sermon in the Anglican Church where the Bishop of Bloemfontein physically compared the Comrades Marathon, and I sat in the congregation and I said to myself, Massyn, the next Comrades you're going to run. And that's actually where it all started. quite a unique way of starting a running career. And I challenge each and every runner out there to beat my unique way. How did they start their running career?
So it's also a little bit of a religious experience for you, maybe.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. Yes, the religion, where the bishop actually physically compared the Comrades Marathon in his sermon, and that's actually where it all started.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people will see the race day, but not the preparation behind it. So, can you tell me a little bit about what your training routine looks like, and maybe compared to when you were starting out and your training routine for now? What have the changes been as you've gotten older in the way you prepare for the race?
Well, to be quite honest with you, being running Comrades 50 times, you try and run it on experience, but that's not really what it's all about. You need to train. I did the training this year. I did 1,200 kilometers since January. In the good old days, I did 1,600 up to 2,000 kilometers since January till race day. But those were the days when I was young, I was good, I was running very, very strong, and I was running silver medals. And to train for a silver medal, it's quite different in just completing the race. But yes, the cutoff time in 1973 was only 11 hours. Originally, it has been 12 hours. It has been changed to 11 hours. And since 2000, it's back to 12 hours, and I think it will remain 12 hours. I'm holding thumbs, but they might change it for 2027. There's a possibility, yes, but it's a board decision to be decided that it might change to 12 and a half hours. Yes, we're hoping for it.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I sometimes run a 5 kilometer just to keep fit, and I struggle. I struggle so much. So I'm curious as to where you get the mental strength to be able to run for 12 hours.
Yes, that's truly a mental. You can run up to 60 kilometers, fairly physically strong. And after that, to complete the next 30 kilometers, it's really a strength mental preparation that you need to train yourself, prepare yourself mentally to complete the race.
And now across your long Comrades journey, what were some of the moments that you can remember, those defining moments that taught you the most about your mental strength, courage, and patience, and just to keep going? Do you remember any key moments that you'll just never forget?
Well, actually, finishing my 10th Comrades was, firstly, finishing my first Comrades was a huge milestone in my life. And then, of course, pushing through to my 10th one, earning my green number, my permanent race number. And the years just gradually continued, and I went back for another one year after year. And a race that I really can remember clearly was my 30th Comrades, was also, I was around about the 32nd athlete that has achieved 30 to complete the race 30 times at that stage, which was quite a huge milestone at my young age. And then, of course, well, to get back to my 50th race last year, 2025, that was a huge, huge milestone, not only for myself, but of course for the history of Comrades, because that was a historical moment in the history of Comrades, for sure. So yes, I will treasure that moment forever and ever.
Now, can I ask how many attempts did it take for you to finish the first one? So, did you finish on your first attempt, or did it take a few times?
No, I entered 1973 for the first time, An actual fact, that has been my first marathon, my first road race in my life. I haven't run any road race at any stage. It was my very, very first road race in my life, 1973 Comrades Marathon, and my second race in my whole life has been Comrades Marathon 1974. So yes, that's quite an achievement, a milestone as well, to say that your first two races in your life has been Comrades. And my third race in my life has been the Karoo Marathon in Laingsburg, which was 80 kilometers at that stage, also in 1974 in September. So my first three races in my whole life has been 3 ultra marathons. Those days it wasn't necessary to belong to a club. There was no uh, qualifying time requested, and you just entered, pitched up at the start, and you ran the race. Entry fee for 1974 was a mere £4.
Wow. I mean, when you tell me that the very first race you ever entered was the Comrades Marathon, I can't help but thinking to myself, do you maybe have to be a little bit of a madman to put yourself through that kind of challenge for the first race ever?
Yeah, well, that's a good question you're asking. To answer that, it's probably I didn't know what was ahead of me. All I knew, I need to run from Pietermaritzburg down to Durban, and I wasn't going to do it in a car. I need to do it on my feet. And well, generation was definitely on my side. I was only 22 years of age, and so yes, it was quite a challenge for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And I think a challenge that deserves as much commending as, doing it 50 times over. I mean, it's absolutely, yeah, it's so crazy to think that your very first marathon ever would be an ultra marathon. Now, with 50 finishes down the line, um, you hold the record, and another runner might be inspired to chase the record and go even further. How does it feel knowing that your journey can help open the way for the next generation of endurance runners who maybe want to achieve some of the same things that you did?
Well, I always said records are there to be broken. And I really do accept I was the first athlete ever. Nobody can take that away from me that has completed 50 comrades. And yes, I'm positive there's quite a few guys down the line that is for sure capable of achieving also this milestone of completing 50 comrades. Yes, it was sad that I didn't finish this year. I was working hard. I was trying for my 51st, but I'll be back next year for sure.
Hmm.
And I am far stronger runner on the downhills. The up comrades is for sure. It is far, far tougher than what the down comrades is, although I do admit that the down comrades, the muscles, the legs are far more sore than what it is on the up comrades, yes, but you need to work very, very hard. For the first 42 kilometers, it's the toughest standard marathon distance marathon in South Africa to run on that first 42 kilometers because you climb for almost 35 kilometers all the way. That's uphill for 35 kilometers right till the 42 kilometer mark. And then it doesn't even stop there. Actually, to get up past Seakga, which is after halfway, it only eases off after the 50 kilometer mark on the up run, where you've got all those downhills on the down comrades, in the second half of the race. So yes, the down comrades is far, far more easier than what the up comrades is.
Now, you've already said that the Comrades Marathon is the greatest endurance marathon in the world, and it's Africa's best known endurance event. So it's really putting Africa on the global stage. So, well, as an African yourself, what does it mean to you that your journey has contributed to showing the excellence of our country and our continent to the world in some ways?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I'm very proud to be part of the history. And, I've got many contacts across the board, uh, runners that invite me to events internationally due to the fact that I have run so many Comrades Marathons. So it does really get recognized by the world. And for me to be that ambassador for South Africa and for Africa is absolutely a feather in the head, a feather in for
The cap.
myself. I really appreciate this.
Now, looking maybe beyond running, what sort of habits, values, or life lessons have supported your physical longevity and your mental strength to be able to do it? And were these qualities always a part of you, or did you develop some of these things as you were training and competing?
Well, absolutely, it has. It has definitely made me a far more better person than what I am and what I used to be. And I must say, the running community, the friends that are really, and I always say, the question get asked to me, who motivates me? And to be quite honest, it's my fellow runners that keeps me motivated. And get invited to various club functions. Those are the nice part of the running as well, and to be a mentor for many runners out there, for the youngsters. Uh, and yes, there's a lot of them that really see me as their mentor.
I mean, me as well, trying to, I mean, I do some park runs and I do some 5Ks, not really the long ultra marathon distance, but I can definitely take a lot of inspiration from your journey. But I do know some ultra marathon runners who've attempted the Comrades and they unfortunately did not finish. So, what kind of advice would you have for someone in that position who maybe didn't finish the Comrades they attempted, but would still like to pursue it?
Well, absolutely, I don't want to disencourage any comrades, future comrades runner, and the ones that has attempted it. And to finish the race, it is a huge achievement. Uh, there's always there's various reasons why the person did not finish the race. It's not just a lack of not training. Everything can go wrong on race day. Uh, so yes, it's not just don't stay away. I've I've met many runners. I can remember of a runner in Cape Town running for Brackenfell Club. He attempted his first Comrade 10 times. So that is really absolutely endurance, perseverance. And another friend of mine in East London, he's done 9 to achieve his 10th, his green number. He has attempted it he only managed it on his 7th run. And he was an experienced runner, completing it 9 times, and he only on the 7th time that he actually earned his permanent green number. And my hats off to those guys. Absolutely, I would like to congratulate them in throwing.
It's interesting how you speak about, everything can go wrong on that day. I'm curious as to, do you have any ideas about what maybe went wrong for you on this 51st one that you could correct when you come back for it next year?
Well, actually, to be quite honest, I was working hard all the way from kilometer 3. It was uphill all the way, and I was really pushing it. Maybe I've pushed it too hard, but yes, my friend Erich Cornelissen and Reino, we had a goal, and on 5 kilometers, we were already 3 minutes behind schedule on time-wise. There was still enough time, but yes, the hills, going up Fields Hill, a tough, long hill. That's the longest uphill on the Comrades up. Yes, it was tough for me. And then, of course, the killer, the steep one, Botha's Hill, and that's where the cramps actually really started. Only on 32 kilometers, Reino, he helped me, and it released, the cramps released and all. And we kept going, but on 60 kilometers, I started realizing, listen, we're running out of time. I would have finished the race, but not within the time limit. Then I started making calculations. I had 7 kilometers per hour left right till the finish, which was, I was capable of running 7 kilometers per hour for the last. But yes, I did not have the reserve to go up little polys and poly short. So what is the sense of finishing the race? I might just run myself into an injury, and that's where I'll just call it the end of the day, and I'll just stick to myself. Listen, you're not going to finish in time. I'm going to call it the end of the day. It's not that I missed any cutoff time. I went through the cutoff times well in time, but yes, I must admit, the cutoff times that was provided this year was very, very generous to the athletes. So I think the organisers need to look into this as well. And I've actually mentioned it to Comrades House as well.
It's so great seeing you be honest with yourself like that as well. And I learned quite a few lessons. Firstly, about the community of runners. When you speak about running with your friend and him helping you through those tough moments, I guess that's a big part of running. But the other big lesson that I'm getting from your journey is that as tough as things might get, it's just about never stopping. It's about going forward and going forward and going forward.
That is the true comradeship, the camaraderie amongst the athletes. And that's actually where it all started, in the spiritual sermon, where the bishop actually physically compared. I really do not remember the Bible text he used, but the camaradieship of the one helping the other one. And this is exactly what we experience on Comrades.
Right.
On Comrades Day and during any race, actually, where you support your fellow runner. You don't compete against the top runners. We're not Bruce Fordyce's and Alan Robs. They're in a different league, yes, but the true camaradieship of Comrades is the one runner supports the other runner, and we each help the other one. And each one will flock out something. If you're in trouble, he would provide you some energy drink or a tablet or a pain pill or tablet or anything. So yes, that's the true camaraderie of Comrades.
And then my final question, maybe my final two, but I'll put them together. Outside of your own story, are there any of the popular comrade stories or myths or legends that really stick out to you? And lastly, when and how are you going to begin your preparations for the next coming Comrades Marathon?
Well, there's so many actually great moments that I have experienced along Comrades. Just to mention Bruce Fordyce and Alan Rob's names, great buddies of mine. I've learned lots of lessons from from these top runners in Comrades. And well, my best Comrades was 6:25, and I was finishing 55th overall. Then I was really thinking of, listen, I'm going to train hard, and I'm going to also try and do even better. I think that day I really boxed quite. It was just one of those days that I really, everything just went well for me on race day. And I've completed 10 silver medals. And the day when I did my 10th silver medal, I just said to myself, now I really want to enjoy Comrades. And the true comradeship is at the back markers. Those are the guys that really makes Comrades.
Yeah, the guys supporting each other at the back, not the superstars in the front.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I will be starting my next year's Comrades within 6-7 weeks. I will be back on the road. I've been invited to run the Coastal Marathon from Swakopmund to Walvis Bay in October. I will prepare for that race, for that marathon in October, and I'll try and qualify again on the Boegmans Coastal Marathon in Namibia.
All right, Mr. Massyn, thank you so much for joining us. I think we've learned some incredible lessons. It's beautiful, things have gone right for you, where everything goes right for you on the day, or everything can go wrong for you on the day. But the important part is to keep running, as well as to run with the comrades, which is really the whole point of the marathon. So congratulations on your 51st Comrades attempt, and good luck as you start preparing for next year. And hopefully we'll be talking next year about finishing your 51st Comrades Marathon. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
So there we have it. Louis Massyn may not have crossed the finish line of his 51st Comrades Marathon this year, but his story reminds us that success is not only measured by the moments when we triumph, sometimes it's measured by the courage to begin again. After more than half a century on the road, running on the road, Louis continues to embody the values that have made the Comrades Marathon legendary: endurance, sacrifice, humility, and above all, the thing that stands out to me when I was speaking to him, and even now thinking about the interview that I had with him, is his emphasis on camaraderie, on unity and brotherhood and sisterhood. I loved when he said that the Comrades Marathon is not about the superstars at the front. It's not about the people who are winning the race year after year. No, it's about the people at the back who are pushing each other to just get through the next checkpoint and the next checkpoint and the next checkpoint, and eventually get to the finish, but get to the finish together. And that's the big lesson that we can take from Mr. Massyn. Not only is it just about endurance, but it's about camaraderie. And I think that's a big lesson that we can take as Africans into many facets of our life. Not only in athletics, but in our politics as well, in our relations with each other, in our relationships with our neighboring countries. We can learn from this camaraderie that Mr. Massyn preaches about so much. His journey has taken him from a young man inspired by a church sermon in 1973 to a living symbol of one of the world's greatest ultra marathons. And along the way, he has inspired generations of runners, proving that records can be broken, but the example we set for others can last for far longer. And perhaps the most remarkable part of his story is that it's not over. While many would see this year's result as the end of an era, Mr. Massyn sees it as motivation for the next challenge. At 74 years old, he's already planning his return. Because for Louis Massyn, the race has never only been about reaching the finish line. It has been about finding the strength to take the next step. So from all of us here on our program, we're wishing him the very best in his preparation for next year's Comrade Marathon. And we're really, really hoping that he'll make it to the finish line. And who knows, maybe we might be joining him. That's all I have for you for today. I will be back, but for now, my name has been Seakga Tladi, and I'm out of here.